Unsolved.
The JonBenet Ramsey case. Physical proof. This little story is from Perfect Murder, Perfect Town by Lawrence Schiller, where an elementary school teacher recounts, several years after JonBenet's death, a little story that happened at the school. We have a fire drill every month at school. From my classroom, we go straight out in front of the building. Last month, we happened to congregate right beside the tree that's dedicated to JonBenet. As we waited, the kids began talking among themselves, and the conversation came around to JonBenet.
Well, you know she's buried right here.
That's the impression some students have, because there's a plaque like a tombstone beside the tree. And I said, no, she's not. She's buried in Atlanta. This is just in memory of her. And then they started to relay some of the rumors they had heard about her death.
I think her dad did it.
One student said.
My dad thinks that her dad did it.
I tried to steer the conversation away from the subject. The children didn't get upset that I did that. They were just being detectives, like the rest of the world. Well, I agree with the students. Not that JonBenet was buried at the school by that tree, but that John Ramsey killed JonBenet. The bowl of pineapple is physical evidence that the Ramseys are involved in the death of their daughter, because JonBenet had to have eaten the pineapple immediately or within minutes of returning home from the Whites' Christmas party, because she had to have time to digest that pineapple also before she was hit on the head and knocked unconscious. Now, both John Ramsey in his police interview and Patsy denied knowing anything about the bowl of pineapple. And it's obvious that they're lying about that. And it shows the bowl of pineapple on the table is key to this case. I don't believe that JonBenet went to bed that night. All she did was change from her jeans into the long johns. What happened was Patsy had gone to bed. Burke had got out the bowl of pineapple and the tea, and then he was put to bed by John, and then John molested JonBenet and eventually ended up killing her. Or there's the chance that John Ramsey had gone to bed and put Burke to bed, and Patsy and JonBenet were up, and some kind of major incident occurred with them. Either JonBenet slapped Patsy, and then Patsy hit JonBenet in the head with something hard, or JonBenet said something obscene to Patsy. The following passages are from the book JonBenet Inside the Ramsey Murder Investigation. The visual image was disturbing to me. Why spread such an important document on the floor, which meant he would have had to get down on his hands and knees to read it? And if he grabbed it, as he said, why weren't his fingerprints on the note? His answers only reinforced the mystery. Ramsey added that during the morning of December 26, I went around and I looked around the house that morning, and all the doors were locked, and I had checked every door on the first floor, and they appeared to be locked. One by one, the detectives gave the DA and his lieutenants everything, including the trauma to the vagina, the still unknown murder weapon, the conclusion of several doctors that the strangulation followed the blow to the head, and that the DNA had been found in the panties and beneath the fingernails. We pointed out that the DNA could be totally unrelated to the case, since no skin or blood was found beneath the nails to indicate that JonBenet had scratched her killer. This passage is about when John Ramsey was giving his police testimony that he said he found JonBenet at 11 a.m. And so he was either mistaken or he had found JonBenet 2 hours before he found JonBenet with Fleet White in the basement. John Ramsey received a net bonus of $118,117.50, almost the exact amount asked for in the ransom note. And the one person we know for certain who knew that amount was John Ramsey. In the tote was a broken brush splotched by paint. Splinters were on the floor beside the tote. It was a major find because the broken brush matched the fractured end of the multicolored stick used in the garrote. The detective had found the source of part of the murder weapon and where it had been broken. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and next weekend will probably be the trial of Patsy Ramsey. It's taken a while to make. I'll see you next weekend.